Hi guys, Temmi here, and today we're going to talk about crafting and harvesting. Crafting is one of the systems that we have perhaps the most information about right now, and I'm ready to dive right in. Harvesting seems the simpler of the two topics, and it is where one would conceivably start their journey, so let's start with that. Pantheon's current harvesting skills are as follows: fishing, gathering, logging, mining, and skinning. Right now, each player can utilize every harvesting skill so long as they have the required tools. Harvesting, at least for now, seems to be a basic system of finding a node and gathering resources from it. One interesting thing to note, however, is that the nodes will not be arranged in a neat and tidy level-based pattern. Instead, they will be scattered in a more ecologically sound way, meaning that the trees that you might expect to grow in a tundra would be in a tundra zone, or the fruits that thrive in a tropical environment are in a tropical environment zone. Additionally, there will be nodes in more civilized places like gardens and parks as well as the wilds. We can expect nodes to be a bit less common than what has been standard, and they aren't shared or instanced, but this is intentional and important. Oversaturation of materials in the economy makes them less valuable. Adding to this point, there won't be group harvesting, at least initially. Materials will be comparably rare and contested. Harvesting refers to only one of many ways that a player might acquire materials. Some of the other ways may include salvaging, purchase from NPCs, or farming monsters, all of which are discussions for another video. Now onto crafting. Crafting is intended to be a persona experience. It's meant to be very immersive and expansive, such that if you want to come into the game and be a crafter, if you want crafting to be your thing, you'll be able to. The goal is for crafting to be a big part of the game, with the ability to compete with the best-in-slot adventuring or questing gear, and the ability to influence the economy through crafting writs, which were only briefly mentioned. We have basically no information about them right now. It looks like right now there are going to be 7 different crafting professions: alchemist, blacksmith, woodworker, outfitter, provisioner, stonemason, and scribe. Each profession has 2 specialization options right now. Blacksmiths may choose to work with either weapons or armor. Outfitters choose to focus on tailoring or leatherworking. Alchemists will focus on either potions or poisons. Woodworkers will choose bowyer or woodworking, though this last option is dependent on some of their plans long-term and may change. Stonemasons will specialize in either jewel crafting or sculpting, which is primarily glass and clay working to make relics or molds for other professions. Scribes will choose between item inscription, which is basically etching into things like tablets or making a pattern for a tailor, and spell research, which is related to improving abilities or even crafting abilities. Provisioning splits into food specializations and drink specializations. Some of these details are still being worked out, so, of course, expect any or all of this to change over time. There is likely going to be some overlap in these specializations. For example, someone who is a high-level brewer would still be able to do rudimentary baking. Currently, players are limited to 1 profession and then 1 specialization. This limitation could change in the future. The groundwork is already set to allow players to swap professions or specializations. What that looks like in terms of skill level in the new or old profession or specialization remains to be seen. Ideally, the maximum level for each profession will be the same as the maximum character level, and each level in crafting will be approximately as difficult to work through as character level. To make this appealing, they want to make crafting engaging and fun, just as one would expect leveling the character itself to be. Right now, the plan isn't to have class-based crafting, like rogues crafting traps. That would be more of a class ability. Indeed, they don't intend to limit crafting based on class or race at all, if avoidable. However, there will be racial or faction-based techniques and recipes to acquire. Some crafted gear may be best in slot, but most crafted gear will be similar in power to what you may find through adventuring or questing. Crafting the really good items will be difficult, relatively as difficult as it would be to acquire similar items through other means. However, crafting does allow you the freedom of choice to either create or alter items as you wish. Almost any item can be improved to be better suited to a specific situation. So far, we've gotten hints of two different methods to alter or improve existing items: enhancing and enchanting. Right now, enhancing seems to be the process of altering the state of the item in a physical manner. The big example we were given from last April's newsletter was this longsword that was silvered to be more effective against were-rats. The crafter would need the recipe for a silvered longsword, then they would be able to take this pre-existing, usable, normal longsword and turn it into a silvered longsword to suit the current need. The second route to item customization we were given is enchanting. This was only very briefly mentioned, but it was mentioned in the context of a magical alteration to an item. In the example, we took that same silvered longsword from before and applied a Bane enchantment to it to make it more effective against some foe or another. While there may be some overlap in the effects of items versus class abilities, the intention is for neither to invalidate the other. They want crafting to synergize with the rest of the game, not combat it. One prime example of this is that most of the items that come from quests, NPC loot, or crafting can be further upgraded through crafting. Now, in the April 2017 newsletter, where this was posted, it was mentioned that this would customize the item and bind it to the recipient. However, elsewhere it has been mentioned that the idea of binding items at all is on the what to avoid list. This could mean that their stance has changed, or simply that there are some areas where it's just too hard to avoid soul binding. It seems inconclusive right now. On the topic of quests, there will certainly be crafting quests, quests that are only achievable via crafting, and quests that have alternate completion routes that include crafting. I think that just about covers what we know about crafting right now. Thanks for tuning in, and see you guys next time.